The Detroit Lions have an elite safety trio with Brian Branch, Ifeatu Melifonwu, and Kirby Joseph manning the back part of the Detroit Lions secondary. Not only has the Detroit Lions secondary taken a massive jump from last year to today, but I would argue that they have become the best safety trio in the NFL, despite one of them not playing yet this season. With Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph playing like two of the best safeties in football, with the track record that Ifeatu has coming in from last season all the way through the postseason, I think it's safe to say that the Detroit Lions have one of, if not the best safety trios and safety rooms within the entirety of the National Football League. Now, today we're going to take a look at this safety room, take a look at how good they've been in years past, how good they've been to start the season, what Ifeatu is going to bring when he ends up joining this roster, and why I think that they are the best trio in football. Now, the Detroit Lions have spent a lot of capital at the safety position and really a lot of capital in the secondary over the last several seasons, right? You're taking a look at Brian Branch, who was a second round selection in 2023. Kirby Joseph was a third round selection in 2022, while Ifeatu Melifonwu was a third round selection in 2021. In back-to-back classes, Brad Holmes has been a day two selection on a safety, and really that trend continued in the 2024 draft class, not with the safety position, of course, but with the potential slot cornerback slash cornerback archetype of Terrion Arnold in the first round and Ennis Rakestraw in the second. Lots of capital has been spent on the secondary over the years, and it's not just draft picks, right? Cam Sutton was a big free agency signing from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Emmanuel Mosley, Amik Robertson, an undrafted rookie free agency. They've taken shots on Starling Thomas, on Jerry Jacobs, on Stephen Gilmore, and so many others throughout the years. And not every one of them is stuck. Not every one of those players turned into a great player, but three of them have. And that is Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph, and Ifeatu Melifonwu. Starting off with Brian Branch, his 2023 rookie campaign was phenomenal. 15 games played for the Detroit Lions, 77% of the snaps played, most of them coming from the slot cornerback position. He totaled 74 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, 3 quarterback hits, 1 sack, 13 passes defended, 3 interceptions, and 1 forced fumble. He was ranked and came in 5th in Defensive Rookie of the Year voting, 3rd place in All-Pro voting at the slot cornerback position, and was named to the 2023 All-Rookie roster. He was phenomenal. He was one of the biggest steals in the 2023 class, was projected to be a first-round pick, but fell to the second largely due to his poor RAS and combine testing, as well as his tendency to play within the slot. He was a player that was known for having versatility, but most of his reps in college and most of his reps at Alabama came as a slot cornerback, a position that typically isn't very valued among the NFL. That's why Cooper DeJean went in the second round this year. It's why Brian Branch went in the second round the year before. And it's likely why one of the top slot cornerbacks will fall to the second round in this year's upcoming class. Now, Brian Branch made a positional change in 2024. He went from playing slot cornerback with a little bit of safety to almost entirely flipping the script, playing almost entirely at the safety position with a couple of snaps with slot cornerback sprinkled in here and there. And quite honestly, it was probably the best decision for his career, as in 2024, through just 3 games, Brian Branch has played 97% of snaps, has 22 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 7 passes defended, and an interception, while leading the NFL in forced incompletions. That being passes defended, that being, just forced incomplete passes when being targeted. And that is through just 3 games of NFL play. If we project that out to an entire season's worth of play, Brian Branch is on pace for 124 tackles, 11 tackles for loss, 5 interceptions, and 40 passes defended. Now, obviously, those numbers will likely slow down. He probably won't reach 40 passes defended and 124 tackles because those numbers are astronomical. But 11 tackles for loss is well within reach for Brian Branch. He did that last year without breaking a sweat. 5 interceptions is more than possible for Brian Branch. He could potentially already have 5 this season. He missed 3 against the Los Angeles Rams, or was within inches of an interception versus the Rams 3 separate times, and probably could have had another couple versus the Cardinals. I know at least one where him and Kirby Joseph collided in the air, which forced the incompletion, but both him and Joseph had hands on the football that Kyler Murray threw. Speaking of Kirby Joseph, he has been one of the best players in the Lions secondary for a couple of years. Last season in 2023, he played 15 games for the Detroit Lions, having 94% of the snaps under his belt. He totaled 82 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 11 passes defended, and 4 interceptions. Now, Kirby Joseph is one of the most underrated players in the NFL. And not only that, he is one of the most underrated players from the 2022 draft class as a whole. If you were to ask who of that 2022 class has the most interceptions, the most passes defended, and the most tackles among the safeties, you would probably say Kyle Hamilton. You would probably say Jalen Petrie. You'd probably say a number of players before you got to Kirby Joseph. But in fact, Kirby Joseph is the player with the most interceptions from that draft class, is the player with the most passes defended from that draft class, is the players with the most tackles from the safety position from that draft class. And he is one of, if not the best players from that 2022 class. In 2024, Kirby Joseph has played phenomenal. Through 3 games, has 98% of the snaps played, has 13 tackles as the deep roaming free safety, with 3 passes defended and already 2 interceptions under his belt. He is on pace for a career year and very well could lead the NFL in interceptions when it's all said and done. As of right now, through 3 weeks of the NFL season, he is tied for second in the NFL as its interception leader. And with the pace that he is on, there's a good chance that he could lead the NFL in takeaways this year just as the free safety alone. Now, Kirby Joseph brings a lot more to the table. He's been a much stronger tackler. He's been much better in coverage this year. He's been a lot better at really every aspect of being the safety, but his biggest plus, his biggest aspect of this roster is his ability to ball hawk and take the football away. Now pair that with the fact that he's no longer having coverage busts, he's no longer getting beat deep, and he's no longer allowing the big plays. And I think Kirby Joseph is very, very close to being considered an elite safety among the NFL as well as among the fandom. Now, if it wasn't enough for Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph to be this elite safety duo playing like arguably the best duo in football right now, the Lions have a third option. That being star safety Ifeatu Melifonwu, who in the 2023 NFL season made 6 starts for the Detroit Lions, started on the bench, started as a special teams player, but started 6 games to end the season and going into the playoffs. And in those 6 regular season games, had 33 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 5 quarterback hits, 3 sacks, 8 passes defended, a forced fumble, and 2 interceptions. He was incredible throughout the Detroit Lions stretch of play last season. He wasn't great to start the NFL season, just like he wasn't great as of right now. With the injury that he suffered to his ankle, it's kept him out for the first 3 weeks and will likely keep him out for a couple of more. But that's kind of how the season started last year. He started on special teams. He started not playing very much, but towards the end of the season, when injuries arose and when he was fully healthy and able to take the field, he was one of the league's best safeties. He had tons of turnovers, tons of big plays. He won the Detroit Lions the NFC North title last season with a game-winning interception against the Minnesota Vikings on the road last year. He was playing like one of the best safeties in football, and then that play continued throughout the NFL playoffs. He had several passes defended, had a couple of very near interceptions, had a couple of sacks, a couple TFLs, a quarterback hit or two, and he was rolling throughout the 2023 playoffs. It was expected coming in that he would take a lot of first-team reps and take a lot of snaps from the other 2 safeties, and unfortunately, he did suffer that injury in the preseason. He has not returned to the field for the Detroit Lions yet this season, but that does not mean that he will not be impactful down the stretch. Ifeatu might be a player that we don't see until the back half of the NFL season. But when he does return, when he is fully healthy, I think that this secondary will take another step forward. It will lead Brian Branch to have even more versatility in the slot and at safety. It will allow the Detroit Lions to play a number of different formations that they can't play right now. Right? When you have a 6'3", 220-pound safety that can play linebacker, that can blitz, that can play the deep safety, that can play the box safety, that can really do any number of things for your defense, it opens up an entire new playbook for this Detroit Lions secondary. And right now, they don't have that luxury. They don't have Ifeatu Melifonwu on the field to be that blitzer, to be that box safety, to be the wild card on the defense. But when he does return, he's going to open up a whole new set of plays, a whole new side of the playbook that the Lions don't have access to right now. They're going to open up more three safety sets. They're going to use all three of their safeties in different ways to confuse the defenses. And I think it's truly going to open up just how special this Detroit Lions secondary and just how special this Detroit Lions safety trio can be. But with all of that being said, that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you all so very much for watching the video. Of course, let me know down in the comments below your expectations and thoughts on this Detroit Lions safety row as we go through the 2024 season. If you have yet to subscribe to the channel, please go down below and do so. It helps the channel out a ton. And we, of course, are looking to get back on track to continue the growth of this channel. And hitting the bell notification as well as the subscribe button helps a ton. If you haven't seen any of our other videos, take a look. It helps the channel out a ton if you were to do so. But with that being said, that's all I got for you guys right now. Thank you all so very much for watching. And until next time, and as always, go Lions.